And welcome to a special edition, I guess, of the Vulcan Nation. This is uncharted territory for us. This is our first webinar for professional development. And we're here to talk today about HRSA grant programs with three colleagues from California University of Pennsylvania. I'm Ryan Barnhart, Director of Alumni Relations. With me today, we have Molly Jenkins. She's the HRSA Program Coordinator. We also have Dr. Sheri Boyle, the Social Work Department Chair at the university, and Dr. Elizabeth Gruber, the Counselor Education Department Program Chair as well. Ladies, thank you for taking the time this afternoon to join us on this special, new frontier of our podcast. How are you today?
Doing great, thanks.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for taking the time out here today. So, the purpose of this and what hopefully will be other programs like this is an opportunity for alumni to explore programs that are going on at the university that maybe they aren't in tune with, or some resources that typically they could take advantage of but maybe haven't heard of yet, and we're trying to bridge that gap. So you guys are kind of our guinea pigs today, and I appreciate that. So, and I know our alumni are looking forward to this also, as many of them are kind of at home during this quarantine period. Also, a lot of them are maybe thinking about, opportunities for upskilling or career change depending on, their situation. So I think this and things of this series are going to be very beneficial. So I want to start off by just a little bit, if you ladies could, introduce us to how this program came about. Maybe Dr. Boyle and Dr. Gruber first, how your departments kind of were symbiotic in this relationship to bring about the HRSA programs.
Liz, I'll let you go first if you want.
Okay, I think that was probably around this time, 2017, received notification of a possible grant through HRSA to do some interdisciplinary work in rural and medically underserved communities. And so I saw Dr. Boyle and I said, let's see, this is a great opportunity for our graduate programs to be able to offer stipends to our students working in rural and medically underserved communities. And so we got together. I know we had people that we met with to see what it would look like, and we were successful in that grant, and very fortunate to hire then Molly full-time to coordinate the grant program. And so, Sheri, whatever you want to add to that?
I was just going to say it's been a great collaborative effort that the two programs can work together. Faculty have come together, the students have come together, and then with the help of Molly kind of directing all of us since we received the grant. It's been a really exciting venture together.
Yeah, and before we, Molly, I want to kind of address, since you're kind of managing the programs, maybe you can tell us the best about, what they are in practice. But I think this is, like, to me, I know this is really cool because I kind of saw this from maybe the inception of it in the Global Online and Graduate Studies office before I moved to Alumni Relations. And then as it was awarded and kind of, you guys manage the program, it's been cool to see the evolution of it. It's also very interesting from an academic perspective and a professional development perspective from my end to see, these topics which really deal with overall wellness, but they're approached from a multidimensional and cross-disciplinary aspect. So I want to commend everyone for this program. I think it's really a really cool, for lack of a better term, I'm being kind of nerdy here, but it's a cool, the blending of everything is very neat to see it, and it's awesome to see it in practice. So with that being said, turn it back to the experts here. Molly, can you tell us a little bit about an overview of what the programs are and some highlights of them?
Sure. So the first program, Behavioral Health Workforce Education and Training, BEWE. This program was awarded in 2017, and we received, Dr. Gruber and Dr. Boyle received a $1.9 million grant. And this program really aims to increase the workforce in rural and medically underserved communities. So the students who are eligible are in our clinical mental health counseling, school counseling, and MSW program, that's the Masters of Social Work. And while they're completing their required field experience, typically this is during their second year in the program. Unless they come in social work with advanced standing, then it would be their first year. They can receive a $10,000 stipend while they're completing that field work. As long as their field site is in a rural or medically underserved community, which is much of what surrounds Cal U.
Right. Right. And is that, I would say that's kind of the benefit of our location and the institutions, I guess, access to those areas, right?
Exactly. So our area of focus is Fayette County, Greene County, Washington, and Westmoreland County. So we have students all over this area that are at these sites that qualify. And in addition to receiving the stipend, they participate in a number of trainings, projects. We can provide support if students want to present at conferences. WVU and Pitt also participate in this program, so we collaborate with them once a year. It kind of an annual get together with all of our students. So there's a lot of great opportunities to really expand your knowledge in rural behavioral health while receiving this stipend. And our hope is that when you graduate, you'll stay in those areas, which many of our students do. Many of our students get hired at their field sites and end up staying there following graduation.
And there's such a need, I would imagine, too, especially in, since this grant is tailored to, in these rural areas, I would imagine that even beyond that, because, we were able to secure the funding, I would imagine that the workforce need is there as well, right, in the area?
Yes, exactly. So that is one of the reasons that we were chosen for both of these programs, is that there's such a need in southwestern Pennsylvania. Given our population, are not enough behavioral health clinicians, whether that be counselors or social workers, psychologists, whatever it may be. There are just not enough clinicians in our area. So our students, we want them to get this experience in our community and then to stay in our community after they graduate.
That's awesome, and it's definitely supports our mission and the role of higher education and the university's role to provide access and support. So I think this is, this really, programs like this and what you ladies have created are a great, addition to the experiential and academic learning options and opportunities that our students have and alumni do. Now, I know that, in addition to the behavioral health workforce program, there's another one that I think is even probably more relevant than ever in the other program. Molly, can you give us some more details about the second track that is
Absolutely. So last year, we had the opportunity to apply for the opioid workforce expansion program. And this program is very similar to the BEWE program, except the goal is to increase the number of behavioral health professionals trained in the provision of opioid use disorder and substance use disorder prevention, treatment, and recovery services. So we were chosen for this grant as well because the need is also so great in our area.
Right.
Like the other program, it's open to students in clinical mental health counseling, school counseling, and the MSW program. Students receive a $10,000 stipend as well while they're completing their field work. But the focus of their field work is really on OUD and SUD. So whether they're doing prevention services in a school, working at a treatment facility, working with individuals who are in recovery, they're gaining that experience to stay in this field once they go into the workforce.
And that's awesome. And that program is similar to the original with the stipends and the same kind of opportunities that those students would have?
Yeah, so with this one, they receive a $10,000 stipend as well, and we give out 27 of these stipends per year. So in total, we're doing 57 stipends per year, so over $500,000 directly to students to help offset some of the costs of taking these positions in these areas in these fields that they may not have chosen before. So if they're at a rural site, they may have a longer commute. They may have more costs associated with that. So the stipend helps offset those costs.
Awesome. That's great. And that's a great part of the grant, I think, also, to benefit the students that can take advantage of it. Moving more to, so looking at maybe this from an academic perspective. So, and then this is open to everyone, Dr. Boyle, Dr. Gruber, Molly, how do you, what have you seen so far as far as like students, and the benefits maybe that they receive from being able to take part in this program? And I know that there may be some other programming for professionals in the field that could be listening to this too. How is this benefiting not just, the people that it impacts, but also the students that are delivering the impact through the grants?
This is Sheri. I would say for the social student, couple of benefits. One is obviously the financial benefit. Students in the MSW program have to do 330 hours of field while they're in the program per semester. And that becomes difficult to work full time then. So they're making a big sacrifice by coming to graduate school. And these stipends really help kind of bridge the gap when they have to either move down to part-time or not work at all to get through the graduate program. I think the other benefit is some expertise in these subject matters, whether it be behavioral health or the opioid substance use disorder. They get extra supervision and meetings on these subject matters while they're in the program. They have an opportunity to do research projects, and some of these projects are projects that our community has asked for. So they're networking, they're understanding the local community needs, and what they can do to make an impact there.
Another thing, this is Liz, and I believe that our students have really enjoyed the opportunity to understand, what they all do, what social workers do, school counselors, what their role is, and clinical mental health counselors. So the interdisciplinary training has been very helpful. We've been fortunate the last 2 years to also collaborate on a conference with WVU and Pitt. And our students, our grantees have gone there and really been able to interact with students from other universities and receive some training. And I know we do an exit portfolio at the end of the, before the students graduate, and they've all commented on the information has been so helpful that they've learned through the additional training that they've received from these grants.
Yeah, part of this grant too, Ryan, is to understand that interdisciplinary work.
Sure.
And so this has really helped our students see what school counselors are doing, clinical mental health and social work, and how we overlap maybe, but also how we're different. So it's been a fun project to work on.
No, it's great to see this kind of like, I know, and that's, in my opinion, one of the great things about our institution is, yeah, granted, we're not an R1 institution, but that doesn't mean that we're not doing, action research in the field or hands-on things that are directly impacting, thought leadership and action. And that's the cool thing, I think, like the hidden gem that we are, is that's where we're making that impact at. So, I think that that's a unique thing about, the program, both programs, the MSW and, and Counselor Ed, and just what they offer to students and alumni. So I guess my one of the big benefits of this program specifically is, pursuing your degree. So what we wanted to talk a little bit about also is, the programs and programmatically how individuals can get enrolled in either the counselor education programs that are qualified to apply for these grant programming or social work. So Dr. Gruber, I'll start with you. What can you tell us about the benefits of maybe counselor education as a track, and how it applies to this, and also maybe some information about like application deadlines or some things like that might be important to remember.
Okay, in counselor education, we have 2 master's degree programs. We have an MS in clinical mental health counseling and a Master's of Education in school counseling. Both are accredited through CACREP, which is very important as people pursue licensure or maybe do doctoral work. And currently clinical mental health is 60 credits and school counseling is 48. But many of our students in school counseling will graduate with 60 graduate credits because that makes them license eligible in the state of Pennsylvania to pursue an LPC, licensed professional counselor. We accept students into the program fall, spring, and summer. And deadlines are usually like May 1st for summer, July, I believe it's July, maybe 15th for fall, and November 1st for spring. But we also have, if we have availability within our courses, we also do a rolling admission. Admission requirements, if a student had, or an applicant has a 2.9 or higher, they do not need to take any other additional testing. If they have between a 2.6 to 2.9 or 2.89, they need to take a Miller's analogy MAT, Miller's analogy test, and they can apply and find all that information online. They would need a couple references and complete a psychobiography, but that's all on our website. And those are great degrees to help you if you want to work in the school as a school counselor. We have teachers that come back for that, people that have you don't have to have a degree in education to be a school counselor. And that could be elementary. Pennsylvania has a pre-K to 12 certification. So we have many students with all kinds of backgrounds that come back for school counseling. Clinical mental health, if somebody is interested in working as a licensed professional counselor, whether in a community agency, within the areas of addiction. We have alumni that work in higher education, in hospital settings, many different places. And once they're licensed, many go on to open up a private practice. So they can, like I said, apply and start. I mean, right now they could start as early as the summer, or if not, fall of 2020. We are a face-to-face program, which right now we are online throughout the summer, so that when we come back in the fall, we will return. Our courses are face-to-face. And we also have many electives that people can take. I know for school, if they want licensed, they need to take 2 to 4 additional classes as electives. And in clinical mental health, there's 2 electives that are built in there. And we have many different things as neurocounseling, sexuality counseling, art therapy, or expressive arts therapy, leadership and social justice, stress management. We have a lot of different options.
And that's good because some of our, I know a lot of our, a portion of our alumni population already have may have their master's degree already, but a lot of them still need continuing professional development credits or, CEUs or continuous education. So, I know like the certificate programs, a lot of those can sometimes satisfy that too, correct?
Correct. Yes, we have 4 certificate programs that are online. They're through Global Online, and they're offered in the summer. So there's still openings if people are interested for this summer. And they are addictive disorders counseling, spiritual, ethical, and religious counseling, student affairs practice, and sports counseling and student athlete mental wellness. Now, spiritual counseling is not offered this summer. It will be offered next summer. But the other 3 are offered. Addictive disorders and student affairs are 9 credits. The sports counseling and student athlete mental wellness is 12 credits, but can all be done online within the summer. That can just really add to people's interest and expertise.
That's I think another added benefit is even though the master's programs are great, and a lot of times too, maybe it's a second master's degree or we have teachers that are classroom teachers. I know personally a guy that I'm good friends with just recently graduated, transitioned from a classroom role to coming back for counseling. So it's oftentimes we see a positive. Now, this is a question I'm going to ask Dr. Boyle also once we talk a little bit about the social work program. But Dr. Gruber, do you think that, given in light of current events and maybe the unknown changes to what our new normal in society is going to be afterwards, I kind of think that there are going to be a greater need for healthcare and other and multidimensional wellness professions, including, mental health, positions and kind of career paths. Do you think that that's going to, create a more of a need for counselors, post COVID-19?
I do. I mean, there definitely is a need within our community, but I know just different things I've been reading. There's an increase in depression and anxiety currently with our current state as we're dealing with COVID-19. And so many people are trying to reach out to see how they can get services at this time, or, once the social distancing, we're allowed to go out, some may seek some services.
Absolutely. And we try to share some resources that are available to our alumni population previously. And I think, though, that, having these kind of conversations about, the professionals that are out there that can help folks, and how maybe someone that's interested or has found, a passion while they're quarantined, basically, for this kind of stuff can take advantage of the resources that Cal U has to offer. So I do thank you for sharing that about the counselor ed department. I want to transition a little bit to the social work department and the MSW program, and Dr. Boyle, a little bit more about how your programs are of impact for students, and maybe kind of the same thing. How can individuals that are interested in social work get into the program or learn about applying?
Sure. So our MSW program is an advanced generalist program with a rural focus. And the advanced generalist program means that our program prepares you to work with individuals, groups and families, and communities and organizations. So we don't have a track that you would have to pick. And the reason we have an advanced generalist program is based on where we're located. And when we started 20 years ago, we did a needs assessment. And at that time, the community said, we really need somebody who can do a little bit of everything, who can do one-on-one therapy, who can run groups or do family programs, and also be the administrator of the agency. So that's how we started and have kept the advanced generalist program. We do have advanced standing. So students who have a bachelor's of social work and a 3.0 overall GPA and a 3.24 GPA in their BSW program can apply for the advanced standing program. And what that does is allows them to complete the MSW in 3 semesters if they go full time. One of the highlights this fall of 2020, we are moving to a hybrid or blended model. And what that means is that students will come to class once every 3 weeks. So we'll meet face-to-face every 3 weeks. And then the 2 weeks in between, students will have online assignments, readings, short papers or quizzes to prepare them for the next face-to-face class. What we have found is that many of our students have to work full-time or part-time, have families to care for, and that this blended model might be a better way to help them balance their education graduate program, work, and family. And now that we're all online, this is kind of preparing some of our students for that blended program. So the advanced generalist program and our MSW program, I think, does a nice job of preparing students to work in a variety of places with a variety of populations. So our students are found in hospitals, community mental health, they are doing private practice, in schools, and they work with everybody from children, families, adults to the elderly. And so that is the MSW program in a nutshell.
Well, thanks, Dr. Boyle, for that. And how would you, so kind of along the same lines, how would you say that the grant program has impacted the MSW students that have been able to take advantage of it?
I think that the stipend has been a tremendous help. As you know, there's not a lot of scholarships and grants for graduate school. So this is something that kind of stands us out from the others and allows students to get that $10,000 stipend, which really helps when they have to do 660 hours of practicum on top of classwork and working. So I think that's been a huge benefit. I think that they're having the ability to meet with counselor education students and getting specialized supervision on these subject matters also has been a huge benefit for our students. And when we do meet with the other students from West Virginia University and University of Pittsburgh, I think our students really understand that rural community and the needs of that rural community and don't realize that not everybody gets that education. So in those three ways, I think it's been a great benefit to our MSW students.
Absolutely, and those are great aspects that really bring more benefit, I think, to the MSW and I think the counselor ed program. So, Dr. Boyle, you had mentioned, and I'm going to throw you the same on the spot question I threw Dr. Gruber, but you had mentioned kind of that a lot of your clinical sites and alumni are in healthcare or healthcare adjacent facilities. So do you think that there's going to be even more of a need and benefit for an MSW program to be, or someone with an MSW degree to be in pursuing that after, again, we're back to the new normal in society, whenever that might be?
Yes, yes. I mean, I agree with Dr. Gruber that there'll be even more of a need for our programs and our graduates, especially in our area, for mental health services, healthcare. I'm thinking of students when they do go back to elementary school or middle school and the adjustment that there might be from being home and now going back, and what does going back look like? And just changes in families due to this pandemic in terms of jobs and loss of jobs or illnesses. So I think there'll be a great need for social workers and counselor educators in our communities and nationwide.
Excellent. Thank you for the insight there.
I think one other thing is I think that both of our programs also will help prepare the new graduates for telehealth, because I think that's going to be, the new normal.
Oh no, I mean, I think we've seen that in, I know I've gotten like alerts from Highmark about like, not going in and make an appointment through FaceTime or whatever. So I think that, I think you and Dr. Gruber as the department chairs and Molly helping to administer the program, I think, and all the faculty members involved are really shaping the next thought leaders in that and in rural health and how this, situation is going to affect rural populations a lot differently than urban populations and the implications of that. So I think it's a very commendable job of what you're doing and how you all are using the resources of the program. I do have a question more for Molly here as we wrap up, and for folks that are listening at home and watching at home, I should say, if you have questions about the program or, whether it's the HRSA program or either degree programs or certificate programs from either the social work or counselor ed programs, we encourage you to reach out and contact any of our guests today. We also provided the graduate school contact information. So if you have questions in general about the grad school, you can reach out there. But in addition to the stipends and the benefit to students that are in the graduate degree programs, does the grant provide for any other kind of, like, I know now it's kind of hard because we can't meet anywhere and we're, PASHE has suspended on-campus events through the summer, but has there been or would there be opportunity for other programming through the grant funding?
Yes, absolutely. So we offer a lot of free trainings on campus. So if you're someone who works in education or in healthcare, we offer a variety of free trainings. We were planning to have an addictions conference this April, but that's been temporarily rescheduled to fall. So we'll see. We don't have a date set yet, but we will have an addictions conference in the fall. Usually over the summer, we do several trainings. We often partner with psychology to offer psychology CEUs. We offer MSW CEUs, counselor ed, sometimes even Act 48 credits for those working in education. So we do a variety of trainings. If you're interested in more information or to just get on our mailing list, you can send me an email and I can take care of it. We also have several individuals trained in mental health first aid. I'm trained in the child version, and Dr. Gruber and Dr. Boyle are trained in the adult version. Typically, those are in-person trainings, but we are in the process of transitioning to an online format. So if you work for an organization that would like mental health first aid training, we would love to talk to you and see if we could partner together to provide that as well. So a lot of great training opportunities. If you are at an organization and you may be interested in hosting some of our graduate students in internships or field work, contact us as well, because we would love to send some students out to help.
Awesome. And before we kind of wrap things up, I want to just give the floor is yours, basically, ladies. If there's anything else you'd like to add about the program or the HRSA program, that is, or either of the graduate programs, please feel free to share.
I think for the social work program, when I do exit interviews with our MSWs, one of the things that the students always say is that Cal U and the MSW program has become their second home. That we are a smaller program than some of the other larger universities. And so that they really feel that they are part of a community and that faculty are there to support them in their journey to become an MSW and receive an MSW, and there to really support them and help them succeed. And so I would leave that note with our guests tonight.
Dr. Gruber, any words?
Yeah, I agree that I know our graduates, our alumni have wonderful things to say about their training and their programs at Cal U. And with both social work and the counseling programs being more on campus, there seems to be an increased opportunity for graduate assistant positions on campus. So students who are interested in grad assistant positions, once they've applied, can receive more information from the grad school or our departments.
And there's nothing that says you can't have a grad assistantship and a stipend if you chose one of the programs, correct?
Correct.
All right, well, if you're listening at home, you got to cash in on that one. No offense. I don't mean that. I mean that in the nicest way possible and in the most academically way possible. But that's a great opportunity, though, to kind of be able to do both. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for clarifying that for us. Well, for folks, again, we want to thank you all for joining us today as we really tried to create some professional development and some guidance or opportunities for our alumni at home, or especially, maybe some of our May graduates who your degree is going to be conferred and maybe you want to kind of a do-over of your final term. So come back for a master's degree or think about investing in your future, or folks that maybe are home for whatever reason, or think about a career change. I think, the ladies here that presented, Drs. Gruber and Boyle and Molly Jenkins, I think they are great resources, and we encourage you to reach out if you have questions or need more information to take advantage of the program. So for Molly Jenkins, Dr. Liz Gruber, and Dr. Sheri Boyle, I'm Ryan Barnhart. Thanks for joining us today on a very special professional development edition of the Vulcan Nation. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.